Yes, hi. I'm Allie Lichtenberg. I am the owner of my own company now, just within the last few months. I do campaign optimization and digital advertising measurement. And my background is working in agencies and large publishers. And just this year, I finally made the move to working for myself.
Well, let's obviously start there. Did you work for yourself when we started working together?
No, I did not. I had this like little bits of feeling that I wanted to, and it was kind of gnawing at me. And I happened to have uh gotten a note from you, and I decided that like if I was going to work for myself, that I was going to need some help. Um, Changing my mindset and getting used to the idea. That's kind of how I figured career coaching would be a potential option for me.
Mm. So, where were you at the time? You were working for an agency.
I was working for a small independent company at the time, and I had just quit right at the time that we started working together. Then I went to go work for another small independent company because I knew I wasn't ready yet to make the jump. But I figured that within the year of our working together that I would be. And sure enough, I quit that job in the fall and really started dedicating myself full time to doing my own thing.
Amazing. If we had to dive back to the version of you that was not working for yourself, what were you feeling? What were your frustrations? I mean, there was a reason you wanted to work for yourself, but where were you in that place?
Yeah. Um, at that point I was at the director level, and doing a lot of mindless, busy work, filling out trackers and spreadsheets and other people's kind of checklists. And it just felt like I wasn't really doing kind of my true skill, which is optimizing campaigns. I was doing a lot of other people's busy work and kind of work that they created to make themselves feel better about other people doing work. And so I just didn't want to be beholden to that anymore.
When you saw yourself on that life path carrying on, how did that look to you?
It looked exhausting. I mean, especially because, that busy work took a lot of time. It took more than the standard 8-hour day. It crept into holidays and weekends, and it just started feeling like it was not the way I wanted uh, my life to go, not the way I wanted the balance in my life to be. So I knew I had to start thinking about other options.
What, from a mindset perspective, was standing in your way? I mean, what was it we worked on that allowed you to get to where you are now?
Yeah. Um, well, I think one was like the word consulting was a little bit of a obstacle for me. You hear kind of jokes about a consultant, like why don't they just do that? Why don't they just work for the company? So just kind of taking that word and making it mean what I wanted it to mean, and basically like doing the work, and being able to have close relationships with my clients. So kind of getting over the stigma of what consulting might mean. Also, obviously, like figuring out a financial plan.
Mm.
How do I find clients? How do I kind of keep things running? Um, that was obviously a big hurdle that we had to talk through. And basically, a lot of it was just changing my talk track,
Mm.
and reminding myself that I've accomplished almost everything I've set myself out to do before, and so I would probably do the same thing again.
Yeah, absolutely. There was a real change in how you saw yourself, wasn't there? And what the role that you could play in this world. You mentioned consulting, and that was, I remember particularly, I think in the middle of the 12 months, we kind of got some quite sticky mindsets around yourself and who you were and what you could do. And actually, as we started to shift those, off the back of that, the starting your business bit was actually really quite quick. And you got up to I remember the bit where we said at this financial level, you would feel secure. And you got there, I mean, phenomenally quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've always, if I mean, one thing for me personally is like money's always been a bit of a stressful
Mm,
topic. And having a consistent paycheck from a full-time job, when you kind of have those feelings can end up being like a crutch, really. And so that became something that soothed me over time. And I realized that if I wanted to make a change in my life, I had to change my outlook and my relationship with money. And I'm one of the things we talked about is kind of the exchange of money and time, and just, you know, I'm gaining something in this interim, even if I'm not kind of exactly where I was money wise and my other, my full time roles. I have all this time to explore passions and interests and new ways of working that are going to pay off in the future. So um, that was critical to helping me make the jump.
so making it's not just about the paycheck. There is costs
Yeah,
and returns on everything. Okay, awesome. Now, you were not looking actively for coaching when I messaged you.
correct.
Tell me about the move tell me about the move from not being considering coaching to going like all in on a year's commitment
Yeah.
within a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I mean, if serendipity is a thing, then this is definitely serendipitous that you and I connected. I definitely had these, like I said, these gnawing thoughts of wanting to go out on my own. But one thing I know about me is that once I get certain thoughts in my head, it's really hard for myself to kind of rework those thoughts. And in the past, when I've been in those situations, I've always found it helpful to have someone there that I can bounce ideas off, hear myself talking to, have them kind of say it back to me, and kind of hear how ridiculous some of it sounds, or show me a new way of thinking. So I just when you came along, I knew that, like, this was going to be the thing I needed in order to change my thinking and allow me to do the work that I needed to do. And in terms of jumping in for the year, uh, it actually, I think, ended up being really helpful because um, I think you and I, because of myself, like, it takes me a good couple of months to, like, get
Mhm.
past the surface, kind of get past, the BS that I've told myself and that I was trying to tell
Mhm.
you. So, the first few months are really just warming up. And then, for me, I was actually, once all of that melted away, the back 6 months was really when we were able to dive in and focus. And so I'm glad that we kind of had that full amount of time to explore and move around.
So obviously, you paid a fee that obviously people can get and go, well, this is expensive, and then you look at the change that's happened. How does that investment, that fee look now you've experienced the change?
Yes. Well, in a lot of ways, I don't, this is gonna be a little cliche. In a lot of ways, I would say it's priceless. Uh, which as someone who measures return on investment of campaigns, it's kind of like it's kind of a silly answer, but I mean, I am just starting on my journey in my own business. And if I hadn't done this coaching, I might still be at a full-time job. And every day that I wasn't working on it, just kind of losing the opportunities going forward. So for me, it was really about unlocking opportunity and um, not delaying what I wanted to do.
That's so the temptation, isn't it? The temptation is to kind of put it off and go, I'll do it then. And I think it's probably, as a coach, I think any coach is probably the thing I hear the most. What would you say to someone who's in that place? Is I hear a lot of let's catch up in 3, 6 months is something I hear, of course, a lot. What would you say from your standpoint? And obviously everyone has individual circumstances, but what would you broadly say to someone going, I'll think about this in a couple of months?
Yeah, I guess my general philosophy is there is no time like the present if you really want to do something. And the best first step is can be the smallest step. So for me, I knew it was going to be at least a year-long journey to get to where I wanted to be, but that I knew that the start of it for me was going to be accepting help to make the change. And if I had already, spent years kind of thinking about it. And, here I was with the opportunity to do something actionable. And so it was sort of a no-brainer to kind of get going on the path.
Amazing, amazing. It's been such a wonderful journey to see you, see you move away here now. And I've loved so many of the things you've said. But I think that's right. I think, the first few months being about understanding what's in the way and moving through it. So I love that you said that. So final words, what would you say to someone kind of sat there thinking, should I do coaching with Sam? What would you say?
I would say yes, it is. It has been it was a really fun year, really thought provoking, and coaching with you was like catching up with a friend. And so, it was just a really low stress way to check myself, check in with myself. And you kind of kept me on track, challenged my thinking. And, especially in this time that we're in where we're all working remotely and sometimes we're not as good about or don't have as many opportunities to reach out to mentors and other kind of um professional opportunities like that. Having your own personal coach is really helpful to kind of maintain that human interaction and get another point of view.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Ali.
Thank you. It's been a real pleasure.